the skin. And that to a red-billed oxpecker is just a buffet that they just cannot say no to. Being the blood-drinking birds that they are. But talking about lions and the proximity that we are to them at the moment, Brent has actually managed to relocate on those lions from this morning and is waiting to show you what they've been doing, or are doing at least.
So the cubs are just starting to be absolutely cute at the moment. There's no other way to describe it. They're just delectable little monsters rolling about. And chewing on sticks, chewing on their own tails even. Hi, Gracie! Gracie is 9 years old, and Gracie says there's so many babies. How do the mums keep track of them? Do any of them ever get lost? Not normally. Being a family animal, lions, they tend to stick together. So it's uncommon, but not impossible for the babies to get lost. Oh, hello, little ones. Oh. Lifted her head into a stick. Now, that Birmingham boy is still very much defending the youngest Nkuhuma lioness. She's lying behind there. And every time the other male gets up, he starts growling. Oh, Vim spotted a woodpecker close to us. Oh, look at that. Looks like a little cardinal woodpecker right above us. Oh, well spotted, Vim. Let's see if I can... It's one of the ones we're going to miss for the live... The live bird book. Definitely one I haven't got a picture of yet while on live drive. Oh, he's gone behind a piece of wood. I'll keep a sharp eye, don't worry. But we are... Okay, now what I'm hoping... Oh, I'm just going to get that snap of that woodpecker before it disappears again. And it's gone again. Oh no, he's back. Gone back, gone back. Very pretty little birds. Not quite as pretty as lion cubs though. Book Diva would like to know whether the cubs are teething. Probably a little bit, not properly yet, as they'll only lose their baby teeth or their milk teeth when they're about 6 months old. Now, isn't this just wonderful? And quite different from what the type of playing we had on the sunrise safari. A little bit more sedate. What are you growling at, big boy? Oh, the other male lifted his head. Oh, big yawn. Come on, guys, it's time to go catch a buffalo. Roger's posed a very interesting question. When the lionesses have to hunt, will they leave a babysitter? Will they take the cubs along? Or will they just leave them? Well, Roger, they normally just leave them. Sometimes they will take them along, especially if they happen to be moving and they spot something while the cubs are there. It's normally a quick reprimand, and then the cubs sit tight while the ladies go off to do the hunting. But it really just depends on each individual situation, Roger. But mostly they will leave the cubs behind. In a thicket somewhere, where there's good cover, where the cubs can disappear and are well camouflaged. And even though we often see the cubs are very active when the adults are around, when they're not, the cubs pretty much don't move much at all. And they definitely don't make all the noises that they make when they are surrounded by adults. Oh, here we go. One of the ladies is up. So for lions that have eaten or killed quite a few buffalo, they are still looking quite hungry. Now, I think those 2 buffalo they must have killed in Buffalo's Hook the night before last couldn't have been the biggest buffalo around. Oh, I could get some nice greeting. Hello, my friend. I love it when lions face rub. Excuse me. Look at that, isn't it just pretty? That lovely golden light filtering through. Now, Cat in Tampa says, I never get tired of watching these cubs. Me neither, Cat. Me neither. Get that stick. Oh, that lioness who's being shadowed is up. Now let's see what the Birmingham boy does. He's not leaving her side, and you might watch the other lionesses try to get out of the way, because he's quite grumpy at the moment and has been known to just make a nuisance of himself. There we go. Look at that. He's so close to us. Now, believe it or not, you can see he's urinating and scent marking. I have nearly been sprayed on by a lion a couple of times. And I have been sprayed on by a lion once before. Or he might get a smack. Look at that, the Fleming grimace. Look at that, lions all around us. And that big male is sniffing the female's back end Now he's going to lift his head shortly and draw back his lips. There we go, the Flehmen grimace. Now what he's doing there is taking that scent from the female over his Jacobson's organ, which is that organ in the top of his palate, and it's going to give him a whole bunch of information with this female's in estrus, and just by the way they're behaving, and he shadows her wherever she goes, she is very likely to be coming into estrus quite soon. And he's going to lie down. Oh, growl, growl. Such a grumpy boy. Now, as I said, we are hoping that these lions are going to get moving and head towards a waterhole where there's some buffalo. Maybe a little bit later. It could be very exciting. And you notice that male lion, as he was moving around, he's got a bit of a limp. That's not unusual for male lions. They're always in the wars. Quite often they're fighting with each other over mating rights. And there's another male who's just keeping his distance. Can't see him, he's just through the bush at the back. He might be just around there somewhere. And every time he lifts his head or moves, this male growls and gets grumpy. Now, he'll be quite tolerant of the cubs, but not the other adults. There's literally a cub pile happening behind him. How many cubs in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So have you heard that little beep, 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 beep? We're just rolling a VR. Oh, tired kitty. It's hard work being wanted. And it really is, because he literally won't let her go anywhere. Trying to see which one lioness I can't see is the amber-eyed lioness. But I'm sure she's around here. This is quite a thick area. She could be just snoozing somewhere close by. I can see the males quite tolerant of the cubs. It almost looks like, should I go annoy Dad? I'm thinking about it. Is it worth it? Oh, tackled. That lion could give our Springboks a lesson on how to tackle. He's licking. Male doesn't seem too perturbed. He's not. Oh, the tail is starting to flick. Oh, but he has retreated. Oh, what? Male's tail? Oh, no. Decided discretion was the better part of valor. Let's go attack a female's tail. Oh, no. You're getting told off there as well. Okay, I'm just going to go lie in the cub pile. So Dina's wondering, is it only males that Flehmen grimace? No, it's both sexes. And is it unique to mammals? As far as I'm aware, Dina, and ours is redundant. It's that small hole on the top of your palate. And you can do, if you do that, you can feel it there. But because of our verbal communication, we no longer need chemical communication to the same degree we did while we were evolving. So it has become redundant in human beings. Isn't this just too special? It's literally a cub pile. Oof. Feisty. Not quite the most coordinated just yet. And you can see aloe grooming even starts at a very young age. Two greedy guts still drinking at the back. Where are you off to? What are you up to down there, little horror? Oh, I see you. Don't come make mischief with my tires or something. Oh, big stretch. Now, Stef is perfectly positioned at the moment. If these lions get moving, he's where the prey is going to be. So let's go have a look what's at the Djuma pan.
That's it, Brent, you're quite right. There's not any water to drink, but there's also buffalo to eat. And have a look at this buffalo. Have a look at his tail. This poor buffalo has broken his tail so many times. It's like a prize fighter that's broken his nose. Just an absolutely skew, manky tail. And I feel so sorry. It must be like a abnormally overgrown arthritis finger that must be a source of constant pain for this poor buffalo. Shame. Oh, just looking at it gives me the chills up my spine. He hasn't actually been in such bad condition. There's been a lot of other buffalo around here today that have been in a lot worse condition than him. That's so often. There's another buffalo coming out the back over there. He was also just here with his friend. Buffalo do form these bonds with one another. I've said it a few times today, and it's just been reiterated today. Although they'll hang around in these bachelor herds, which are informal, i.e. they are fluid, they definitely form bonds with one another. And these bonds, these one buffalo, two buffalo, three or four buffalo together that have been together and looking after one another since they were 12 years old, since they were 2 years old, stick together for life. And in the couple of times I've seen lion be chased off by a buffalo, having caught one and then being chased off by another one, it's definitely these male buffalo that come to one another's aid. That is an enormous impala. There's an impala walking out to that buffalo there. He's just a beautiful specimen of a male impala. Look at those horn tips, the last inch or so of his horn, parallel with its neighbor, with its twin on the other side, which tells me that this is a mature breeding ram. In his prime, would have contested quite hotly during the rut this year, which happened in May, and will probably be able to contest equally, maybe with a bit of experience behind him now, for the next hot spot in the coming rut following May. Let's see if he comes up here to have a drink so that we can get a nice picture of him. It looks like he's coming in this area. It's been such a peaceful afternoon sitting over here. I must be honest, the first hour and a half of the safari, the sun felt like it was living on my face. My face feels like it's been burnt with acid at the moment, even though I've caked it in. There he sticks his face over. Even though I've caked my face in sunscreen, it's just been an intense day. One of these, definitely these summery feels. Have a look at that guy. What a good-looking impala. Sucking some of the oxpeckers from the buffalo onto him. They're having a bit of a powwow. They're going down to the ankles where impala do carry a lot of ticks. Out along the flanks. Combing through the hair. Red-billed oxpeckers have this special comb on their bottom bill that they can comb through the hair, comb out mites and ticks. Where's this impala going? No other impala in sight, actually. He just seems to be on a mission from one place to another. Impala will very often come onto these open areas at night time. Makes it that much more difficult to be snuck upon by something, in particular leopard. Even though impala get eaten by almost every single predator out here, from snakes to eagles, from the lowly jackal and caracal to lion, impala seem to form a staple diet of almost all of them. Sabrina, who's only 12 years old, has asked me the question, the inevitable: how does a buffalo break its tail? Sabrina, in the melee, when they are busy mating with one another, quite often what happens is buffalo bulls will mistakenly mount one another in an effort to try and assert dominance. And I personally think that it's during these sort of dominance fights, basically, that these males get injured like that. Yes, it can happen when they're a bit younger, when they're lying in herds, but it's uncommon to see a young buffalo with a broken tail. It's far more common to see these older male buffalo with broken tails. That, and also lion, will very often grab a buffalo by the tail to anchor that buffalo in one spot. And if a lion has bitten this buffalo enough on that tail, it'll give them injuries like that. And although this buffalo got away, which sometimes they do, it would have left its mark, and in this particular case left this buffalo with a very skew and broken tail. Doesn't that just look absolutely terrible? Take your finger and break it in 7 places and then walk around with that for the rest of your life, and that's basically what that must feel like. They have it hard out here, I must be honest. Out of all the big 5, buffalo look like they have the hardest life. Peter, all the way from Florida, you've asked me how long does a hippo hold its breath for. Well, Peter, a full-grown male hippo can hold their breath for about 7 to 8 minutes at its longest, but usually only about 40 seconds to about 2 minutes. They will also sleep, and in their sleep, they will lift their head. It's a subconscious movement to breathe every 2 minutes or so, every 40 seconds to about 2 minutes. So let's see now. It's probably at about 20, 25 seconds that he's now under the water over there, bubbles just plopping out of his nose. I think we have a clock on the camera that we can keep an eye on. So we can take it now at about 30 seconds, 35 seconds. Yeah, it's about 40 seconds now, plus minus. Watch this buffalo hold his breath for the next 4 hours and make a fool of me here. No, that won't happen. But so we had about a minute now. Oh, excuse me, hippo. My brain's leaving me. There we're at about a minute 10, minute 15 seconds now. You can see the buffalo's eyes are tightly shut with the exertion of trying to prove me wrong. 1 minute 30 seconds about. He's really forcing himself into the last few seconds of this round here. 1 minute 40 seconds. 1 minute 45 or so. Yeah, the strain is starting to tell. Look at the bubbles coming up. Eyes closed in his cave. There we're at about 2 minutes now. And the hippo smashes my record. Now about 2 minutes 20 seconds. We just had a comment come through about who else is holding their breath at the moment. I think it's just me as well, don't worry. So we're probably at around about 2 minutes 40 seconds, 2 minutes 45 seconds. Wow, this hippo is going all out to try and prove me wrong today. And there we're around about the 3 minute barrier here, Brian.
Yep, that's the longest I can hold my breath for.
Brian just said that he can hold his breath the longest at 3 minutes. And that must be with a lot of chest pumping and hyperventilation.
Lips start to go slightly blue.
Yeah. You can see that this buffalo is going red with the exertion there underneath his ears. I'm only joking with everybody. They're normally red under their ears. There we're probably at around about 3 minutes 30. Yeah, exactly. Tim has just said that this hippo has got a straw that he's breathing through right now, or he's carrying an oxygen tank under his armpit. So I would gather we're around about 3 minutes 40 seconds, 3 minutes 45 seconds now. This is actually incredible. Relaxed hippo, heartbeat right down. There we're at about 4 minutes now. 4 minutes. That is a long time. I think some scuba divers can go to about 6 minutes, 6 minutes 50 probably, and I think the world record for holding breath, I'm not too sure, but it's probably around about the 7 to 9 minute, somewhere around there. So now we're at about 4 minutes 30. Four minutes 30 seconds, everybody. This is amazing. It's like a race against time here. So Scott in Durban wants to know if he's breathing through his ears. There we go, here we go. And easy breathing. There we go. So I would say that he's probably close on about 5 minutes. I would say just shy of 5 minutes. Big breath. And then very quickly going under again. It would be interesting to know. That is actually incredible. We're going to keep an eye on the time again. I'll tell you why we're going to do that. Because we'll be able to tell you how many times a hippo breathes in an hour when we know every how many minutes he breathes. I think we're going to keep a time on this thing and try and get an average for you. But on that note, Brent is still with those very, very cute lions. Off you go. We'll catch up with you when we've stopwatched this one.
Someone just woke up Dad and he wasn't too impressed. That little one there tried to climb over the middle of Dad's body. Well, it has prompted him into another sniffing foray, so get ready for the phlegm and grimace. There we go. Look at those lovely big canines. Absolutely magnificent. There it is again. Oh, and back to sleep. There's the culprit. You woke Dad up. Looking a little guilty. I wouldn't play with Dad's tail. It might get you into trouble. Yes, I head back to the cub pile safer. Oh, bless you. Means, oh, there we go. That's when at night time it's cool, so they're able to be more active without overheating. So if a lion's core body temperature raises by just a few degrees, it can be fatal. And also at night, when they do most of their hunting, that night vision is a massive advantage. Got an itchy foot. Now, not so long ago, we were lucky enough to see the first introduction of those little cubs to the rest of the pride, and now it looks like they've always been there. Ooh, trouble. Liz in the UK is wondering why the Nkuhuma cubs look to be in such good condition and the Sticks cubs not so much. Ooh, let's just watch what happens here. I wouldn't bite Dad's ear if I were you. That's a big mouth. I think I'm gonna leave. Yes, there's a stick. So I just think it's unlucky that the Sticks, I think possibly via the Birmingham boys, just happened to pick up a bit of a demodractic. Oh, I can never remember that one. A type of mange. It's a little mite that feeds off hair follicles. And normally, they do survive it quite easily. But the older they are, the better chance they have of survival. From what I've seen of the Sticks cubs, they don't look great, but they don't look like they're about to keel over and die. They certainly are not the fluffy postcard picture lion cubs of the Nkuhumas. Oh. Oh. Off. I'm not in the mood for your nonsense. Oh, and back down. Sorry about that. So sweet. And hooligans in the middle. Force its way in there. Looks like it's found a teat. A huge welcome to Ladybug Landing Daycare Center in the great cold northern country of Canada. Welcome on your live safari, guys. Very exciting to have you here. And look at this. We've got a daycare of our own going on next to us. It's lion daycare. So we've got 8 little cubs, 5 big females, and 2 big males. There we go. Oh, we're hoping that lions are going to get moving shortly. It is getting cool at the right time of the day. So maybe once the babies have finished suckling, we might see them on the move. Ah, there we go. So there's a cub that's made its way all the way to the second male. You can just make out through the bush. Brave little cubby. Now, we're sitting here with lions, but of course I'm not the only one out and about on this live African safari. So let's go say hello to Stef, who's got one of the biggest animals in the bush.
Hello there, all of you, all the way from Canada, which is miles and miles and miles away from where we're sitting here in the African bush. I'm Stef, and I just want to say a very warm welcome to all of you from Ladybug's Landing Daycare Center, all the way in Canada. Now, we have got a little bit of a competition going on here, I guess. We're with this big hippo, and like Brent said, here's one of the biggest animals in the bush here. He, in terms of pounds, can go to 5,000 pounds. Now, 5,000 pounds is almost the same weight as the car you got dropped off at school today, or will be fetched a little bit later on today in. A small little family compact car that weighs 5,000 pounds, as much as what this hippo weighs right now. Now, as you can see, the hippo's nose is in the water, and hippo can hold their breath. And what we've been doing for the last 15 or 20 minutes is timing how many breaths this hippo takes. And so far, this hippo is taking a breath every 4 minutes. I want you to do yourselves a favor if you can. Look at the clock on the wall. When it gets to 12, I want one of your friends to count how many breaths you take in 1 minute. So count how many breaths you take in 1 minute. So from the 12 all the way around the clock, the second hand, the fast one, all the way around the clock until 12, count how many breaths you take. I'll give you a little bit of time, and while you're busy doing that and getting yourselves prepared for that, I'm going to carry on with some more interesting things, and then we'll come back to that. Now, this hippo is covered in a lot of fatty tissue, and that is because this hippo is actually very similar to the manatees which you find in Florida. It's an animal that lives in a swamp or a marsh and eats seagrass, and this particular animal also eats grass, only just outside of the water. Hippos climb out of the water at night time and eat grass, just grass. Got a big wide mouth and massive teeth, and they chomp up grass, about 100 pounds of grass every day. 100 pounds of grass is like them eating one of you in weight every single day. Can you imagine? That is why he looks so round. Have a look as well at those eyes and those ears. There's his nose. Let's see what time that was. What time was that, Brian?
4 minutes on the dot almost.
So 4 minutes on the dot. So that was this hippo has taken only 4 breaths in the last 20 minutes, or 16 minutes actually. So this hippo has taken only 4 breaths in the last 16 minutes. Now what I want you to do is, those of you that decided to do my exercise of counting how many breaths you did in 1 minute, open up a calculator if you can. Lots of phones have calculators. I'll give you some time to do that. Alright, have you got your calculators open? Now what you need to do is take the amount of breaths that you took in 1 minute. There'll probably be around about 20 to 30 breaths. Somewhere around there, I would imagine. And I want you to times that by 60. So take the amount of breaths you took in 1 minute, times it by 60. And that's how many breaths you take in 1 hour. That's a lot, hey? Now imagine this hippo only takes 15 breaths in the same amount of time. Now that is an amazing fact, hey? So 15 breaths, only 15 in-breaths every single hour. That's amazing, hey? And while this hippo is waiting for the sun to go down, he's also being visited by those birds. Those birds are red-billed oxpeckers. They've got a red bill. They're called oxpeckers because when they were first described to science, or to Western science at least anyway, they were quite often seen sitting on cattle. They sit on the hippo to pick off all the parasites that infest the hippo, all the ticks and the mites and the skin parasites. And they also drink blood. They are about as close to vampires as we get out here. These birds live on blood, and what their job is to keep wounds on animals clean. They're the little doctors. They're part of the cleaning ritual, the antiseptic agents out here in the bush. The birds will pick open injuries and cuts and keep blood flowing to those areas. And we all know that blood makes things better as long as it doesn't pump out of our arms and legs. And have a look at them, just resting on the back of this hippo. And you can see that one right at the bottom on the right hand side. You can see him digging in a wound or something over there. Him worrying it with his beak. And these birds will sit on almost everything. They'll sit on giraffe, they will sit on buffalo, they sit on impala, all the antelope species that we get here, all the various animals. And they even make their nest inside the hole of trees. They will make their nests and line their nests with hair that they get from the animals that they sit on. Now, hippo don't have any hairs on their body. They have a few hairs on their body. This particular one doesn't have any hairs on his body. But they will have some hairs on their chin and their mouth. Now, Mac, you've asked me how many babies hippo have at one time. They just have one baby at a time. So they hold on to their baby for about 8 months in their mommy's tummy, and then they give birth to one baby. Sometimes, very rarely, you can find twins, but generally it's just one baby at a time, just like us. Now, if you have a look underneath that hippo's ear, you'll see that the skin is red there. Now, that is because hippo, they sweat a thing called, or a substance called hipposudoric acid, and that is colored red, and that dries to an even redder color, and it's a sunscreen. So just listen to what I've just said there. Hippos sweat sunscreen. How's that for an interesting fact? All right, and on that note, we're going to send you back over to Brent, who's sitting with those lions.
Now it looks like there's a bit of action, some movement happening. Now, if Stef looks from where he's sitting, he might see the lions pop up on the road shortly as some of the lionesses are getting moving. So, 3 lionesses started to make their way out of these thickets. Oh, cubs is just still playing. Just keeping my eye on the lionesses, where they're going, because we might need to move, and this is quite a precarious area. Now, the cubs might just stay here while the lionesses go out. So as I said, if Stef keeps an eye down the road, those lions might pop up there now. Those the females. But isn't this wonderful, sitting with little lion cubs live in the middle of the African bush? That one looks like it's thinking about following the females. Well, hello guys at the Ladybug Center. They want to know, why do the boys have these big manes and the girls don't? Well, it's for protection when they fight with each other. So the males have to fight to get girlfriends. So when they fight with other males, that extra hair around their neck helps to protect them. Now, the other male who's just through the bush, he stood up, and that's where all the cubs are looking. You can just see him through there. You can see his foot. Now, Vim, can you see where those girls have gone? No, they went up onto the road. Okay. Well, we're just going to sit here, see what happens. Oh, Vim can just see them through the bush. I can't see them, so we'll stick with the lines we got. Now that hippo could make a nice meal for these lions. Now the cubs might stay here while the females go get dinner. So a little boy lion will only have a full mane when he's about 5 years old, but you'll start seeing it from when he's about 7 or 8 months old. You'll start seeing him getting fluffy around. Now those guys look like they're stalking the other male. In fact, I want to go play with the other male. Oh, let me just move back a centimetre there. Can you get a gap through there, Vim? There we go. Hi, Dad! So the male lions can be very tolerant of the babies. Looks like all the cubs are heading to join that other male now. And then this guy's growling, protecting his girlfriend. Oh, too many cubs. he's very gentle with them. So you guys would like to know how fast lions can run. Very fast is the answer. They run at about 22 meters per second, which is just under 90 kilometers. One of the lionesses is coming back. Oh, big yawn. Oh, she trying to call the rest of the pride, saying, it's time to get moving, guys. Hello, cubbies. Jumping on Mum's leg. Oh, lie down again. Now this is not uncommon with lions. Up and down, up and down. Oh, gotcha. Now, you guys would like to know how heavy can a male lion get? Well, these guys here probably weigh just under 200 kilograms, but a really big male lion can weigh up to 250 kilograms, and the biggest recorded male lion from Namibia weighed 300 kilograms. On that funny note, as the lion cub lost its footing, let's go see how Stef and his hippo are doing.
Thank you, Brent. My hippo is doing fantastic, and we are trying to get you a view of an emerald spotted dove that is busy drinking just on the side here. Let's see if we can get him for you. He's a tiny little dove. There's his wings sticking out there, and you'll see popping his head up the green spot dove, or emerald spot dove, as this little bird is called. Oh, there we go. Flew away. Sorry about that. But have a look at how many other doves we've got all over this pan. They've just been flying in here in their droves. And I must be honest, 2 or 3 land, and if you take a careful look there, have a look and see if you can count how many doves are actually landing all the time. There's 1 or 2 taking off, but the vast majority of them are just landing, having a drink, having a bit of a social life. Almost all of them are Cape turtle doves. That's the dove with a black mark on the neck. Cape turtle doves. And I'm trying to see now with my binoculars if I can see any other type of dove. No, all just Cape turtle doves, no laughing doves. Isn't that amazing? Just the ground is just peppered with them. Now I'm expecting 1 or 2 sandgrouse to fly in as well. I can't wait for sandgrouse to come. Hopefully it's still light enough for us to show you them. They come in at sunset, they rocket over the bush, and they live in very dry areas like this is now. And the males fly in from very far away, and they have special feathers on their tummies that can actually hold water. And believe it or not, they put their bellies into they drink first, and then they put their bellies into the water, and they fill their feathers with water, and then they fly to their babies. And they set their wet feathers onto the eggs, and the eggs then soak up the water. And can you believe it? That's how the eggs stay alive in these dry areas. Isn't it amazing? I'm waiting for these sandgrass to rocket in. We should be lucky. If we're holding our thumbs together, we should be able to see one of these fantastic birds. Now this hippo, he hasn't done much. He's kept that 4-minute breathing that we were doing just now. So every 4 minutes or so, he has a breath. So that does mean we've confirmed that this particular hippo today, and relaxed as he is at the moment, is only breathing 15 times an hour. Isn't that amazing? Most of us breathe more than 15 times a minute. Ladybug Daycare has just asked me if there's any way we can tell between male and female hippo. Yes, there is. Female hippo with a baby, it's easy to see. Male hippo tend to be bigger as well. They have these more robust skulls. And for the reason is that those two bumps that you see just next to his nostrils there, just behind his nostrils, can you believe it that that is where his teeth go to? They have these massive bottom teeth that are shaped like a banana, and are about as long as your forearm, in some cases as long as your arm. If you're around about 5, 6 or 7 years old, hold out your arm in front of your head. That is as long as the bottom tooth in a hippo's mouth. And that bump that you see just behind the nose, let's see if I can put my finger on it for you, there, that is where the bottom tooth goes into the top of his mouth. His tooth is pushing out the skin there. Whoa, sorry. He didn't like me trying to pick his nose over there. I can't imagine why. A hippo can open up his mouth. I've just been asked a question, how wide a hippo can open up his mouth. They can open up their mouth almost 180 degrees. Now that means, I want you to try this, although probably not. Open up your mouth as wide as you can, and you will see that your mouth doesn't open all the way. A hippo can open up his mouth that his top teeth and his bottom jaw teeth, point completely away from one another. Can you believe that? So open up your mouth as wide as you can, and even then, your top teeth and your bottom teeth face one another. Hippos can open up their mouths so wide that their bottom teeth and their top teeth face completely away from each other, like this. So hippos can open up their mouths even wider than my hands can go at the moment. Massively wide. For us, we can't. My teeth still busy talk to one another. Let's see. It's now getting dark, and this hippo will start to get a little bit more active as the night picks up. There's not a lot of food around for these poor animals at the moment. They eat a lot of food, actually. They actually only feed for a couple of hours a night. And that's because they're really good at cutting all the grass that they need with their big mouths. They've got this big, flat, wide mouth, and they use their lips to crop all the grass that they can. Now, on that note, the lion cubs are up to something, and so off you go.
So still quite a bit of cub movement, but no adult movement. The heads are up. So we are hoping they are going to get moving shortly. Oh, big yawn. Oh, sorry guys. And it's just one bite. There we go. Let's chew on a weeping wattle. Just because it's there. Now, lions are not normal swimmers, but the ladybugs would like to know, how well can a lion swim? They can actually swim quite well, but they don't like to swim if they can help it, because one of the only crocodile, or the only, what happened back there? One of the only predators that poses a threat to the lions is the crocodile, who lives in the water. Coming back. Hello. All those greetings are very, very important to help reaffirm pride bonds and to keep the bonds strong between the pride members as they get older. And this glorious big male lion lying right next to us. Look at that one playing with the stick. Oh, there's another big yawn. Ooh, big teeth. Oh, look at this. Going on an adventure. Oh, the cub's annoying dad, or one of the fathers. There's the one who's gone on an adventure. Now, the ladybugs would like to know how we found the lions. Well, we were very lucky. There's a water hole not too far from here. And the lion happened to appear at this water hole, which is in front of a camera. So I knew they were there from before starting, so I actually didn't have to track today. So I was lucky. There we go. Females up. The other females are lying up not too far from here. Are you going to follow your mum? Or are you going to stay here in the drainage line? Let's see what happens. There you go, the female's called. You probably find a lot of the cubs are going to follow now. Off they go. Just 3 naughty ones left behind. Hope you guys aren't naughty. Oh, look at this. Now, as the lions get up and move, it's also time for the ladybugs to leave us. It's been wonderful having you, ladybugs. Hopefully, you'll come join us on another live safari very soon. Yeah, I'm going to have to try get myself out of this drainage system now. The lions are moving up towards Twin Dams Road, so maybe Stef will get a view of them shortly. Off he goes to follow the rest. Hey, why'd you leave me? Ow! Go on, don't get left behind now. Well, while the lions make their way back up towards the road, we're going to do the same. So let's go see what Stef's up to.
Welcome back, and welcome back to our static hippo that is probably so lethargic because he's got oxygen deprivation from the lack of breathing that he's been doing over the last hour. We are waiting still for one of those sandgrass to pop up, and they haven't. Not even one has winged his way in here, not even a little bit. And that is a pity. We are waiting in anticipation for this hippo to jump up. And I must be honest, Brent started his car now in that drainage line, and he is a lot closer than I thought he was. Brent is easily about 150 yards, maybe 200 yards from us. The rest is there. And if those lions are getting moving, it's a good chance that they pop out here and they come for a drink, which of course is why we're still stuck here looking at this beautiful hippo in his pond that is reflecting the color of the sky. It's got quite a funny color, almost like a pinkish tinge to it. Have a look at that. Now Brent is directly behind that dead tree on the right hand side. So Oren, you just asked me how filthy is this water and would I drink it if there wasn't any other water around. I'd absolutely drink it if there wasn't any other water around. I probably would have to boil it first, and that would be to kill all the microbes inside here. This water has just got hippo wee in it and all the feces from every animal, lots of buffalo feces, lots of elephant feces, lots of everything else that's been washed in here by the mud washing off of the animals' legs and all their hooves. But it is water and it is drinkable. If you boil it for about 10 minutes, you would kill everything. At 100 degrees centigrade, there's not much that can live. And so what you try and do is you try and raise the entire water in your billy can to 100 degrees and then drink it. I can't say that it's going to improve the taste at all, but I definitely would drink it with some boiling. I do know some friends of mine that had hardened themselves to all the nasties that occur in the water over here, and they definitely would take a sip of this water without boiling it at all. Have a look at this hippo giving us this beady eye. Now, not only is he not breathing, but he's also not blinking. Yeah, just one little flicker. So Pam, you've asked a nice question. Why doesn't the hippo just keep his nostrils above the water? Why? I mean, if he's not needing to hold his breath, why hold his breath? Pam, that's a good question. I just think it's sort of the aftermath of these things coming from the ocean and never fully having left the water itself. So hippo is part of the Hippomorpha family of animals that include dugongs and manatees. Something's bothering this hippo. You can see him busy snorting, that alert posture that he's got there. You can see those ears pricked. I think he may have gotten smell of these lions. You might find that the breeze is just wafting onto this particular hippo. And that alert posture, definitely more alert than what he was Maybe these lions have wafted onto him. Now, so just to finish off that point, I think that these hippo haven't really left the water really, although they are considered terrestrial mammals or sort of semi-aquatic mammals. And I think that is just the remnants of the days when they used to have to, like whales and dolphins and manatees, holding their breaths for extended periods of time. I think it's just what they do. It's quite amazing. I can hear Brent crashing around in the bushes very close to where we are. This hippo, you can see he hasn't relaxed just yet at all. I wonder if he's getting a big lungful of lion. Yeah, he seems to be calming down a little bit over there. Still a young hippo. I mean, the large bull hippos, the largest bull hippos, they almost have these almost deformed skulls. Their canines and their incisors, not their canines, their incisors are massively overdeveloped and almost full their whole skull. I just want to have a quick squiz here through the bush. I don't know if it's just my imagination or what it is, but I caught a tawny glimpse coming in through the bushes there. Might have been a nyala. It's most probably a nyala. And we will see. Alright, Brent's gotten onto the road. I think it would be a good place for you to go and join him.
There you go, wonderful little lion cubs now out in the open. Oh, there we go. Stalk mode. Got some cover. Watching, sounded like a green pigeon in the tree. Caught their attention for a second. A very brief second. Oh, where are you off to? Little brave one. Oh, well spotted, VM. Those lions are heading towards the pan. Could that hippo be in for some trouble? There's one lioness is already quite far ahead. Now, off they go! Racetrack! Just listening to try to figure out where all the lions are. They're quite spread out. Oh, there we go! Fun and games. Here comes one of the moms. Well, let's keep a parallel with them. Oh, lots of running and playing. Let's catch up with the cubs. Okay, we got one lioness right here. Another one just through the bush. Where's my hand? There we go. There's the female and the male. Oh, we have to go a bit wider. 2, 3, 4. Now, where's number 5? Whereabouts? Yeah. Where's Amber Eyes? Oh, we're being approached. Hi, Birdie in Georgia. Birdie's wondering whether if I let the final control crew see the cubs as promised. Ah, Birdie, you know what? I decided they didn't deserve it. Of course, I'm joking. We went and had a look at the Nkuhuma cubs and Karula and her cubs. Oh, the lion piled up there. Okay, let's get back up ahead. It looks like they might come join Stef. Nkuhuma out of the Shkova and heading towards the Mati. But while we get up ahead of these lions, let's go see what it's looking like from Stef's position.
And finally, the sandgrass came in. This is the first, hopefully, of many. That is a female double-banded sandgrass. I thought it would be a male that would come in, but in actual fact it's a female, which probably tells me that they're not breeding right now. And she's waiting to walk down to the water to go and slake her thirst. They are dryland specialists. And I'm just so happy that we get to see one before the close of the show. With a couple of minutes left, and one came winging in low over the horizon. And she landed a bit further away, and now she's walking down to the edge of the pan. Hopefully, rocketed off there. Something gave her a fright. What a pity. I thought that she'd come and drink. Alright. My head getting in the way, Brian bombing me over there. Anyway, we're going to send you over to Brent. He's got the lions approaching the pan. See you in a bit.
So here we go. Alright, so 4 lionesses visible. And 1 male, so Amber's still missing. But we are going to stay a little bit longer this evening to see what happens when they get to the pan, because that hippo is still there and they are heading straight for the pan. So there could be a bit of pandemonium. Now, I don't think the lions know that the hippo is in the pan. So those 2 that are going past us now are going to be the first to arrive. They're the little ones. Just that last little bit of... Oh, them literally right next to me. Hello. Sneaky. Didn't even see you sneak up on me. Oh, Vim, that one's giving you the eye. So you'll notice we're not putting on any of our lights. So if the pictures do become a little bit blurry or whatnot, we're not going to put any lights on while we're with the cubs. Okay. Oh, on to Dad. Not a good idea. He's grumpy at the moment. So Okay. So as you can see where we are sitting compared to where the dam cam is that I don't think the lions are aware. There's Stef. And Stef's right there. I don't think the lions are aware that there's a hippo in there just yet. So there we can just make out the hippo. And we come out of it, you'll see Stef next to the waterhole and the lions heading that way. Oh, he nearly ran under the car. Hello? Yeah? Talking? He almost went right under the car. Ooh, sorry. It's going to be really interesting to see when they do get to the waterhole. Okay, so now you're going to be having a look what Stef's seeing
between the Scopsals call
of us. Hi, guys. And the lions. Okay, so there we go. Now, the cubs might actually get there before any of the adults, but the adults are not far behind. There's that hippo. I wonder if we can hear these lions calling and making noise all around us. Here we go, there's another one passing right next to us. This could get very exciting. Okay, so all the lions are past us, and they're going to arrive with Stef shortly. We're going to move around to be in a better position to see what happens at the pan. Oh, sorry, didn't see you there, madam. Lions popping up everywhere. Okay, so we're going to keep all the lights to a minimum. As you see, we're not putting on any lights like we normally would, and that's because the cubs are here. Now, Rita is wondering, would the hippo not hurt the cubs? There is a possibility. The cubs are about to arrive, so I think Stef's in the best position. So I think let's go across to Stef to see what his view looks like.
And after pretty much an hour and a half of sitting at this pan, these lions have, as predicted, finally come up to the water, with the cubs actually approaching the water first, which is very, very bizarre. The mom, as she arrived, was calling all the time, trying to reassure her cubs that it's safe. This hippo is still in the water. Look at him there. Just realized there's some lions behind him. There, the big male's coming up the back. That hippo definitely might get a bit feisty, but is quite safe in the middle of his pond. Everyone's slaking their thirst after having a nice day of relaxing in a tamboti thicket. Oh, look at these little cubs. There's one on the branch above the hippo. Have a look at this little guy just taking chances. Busy growling at that hippo. Feisty youngster. Showing that hippo who's boss. Oh, that is such an awesome view. We've just been so blessed today around this particular pan. Big male now coming in for a drink. The lion's still fairly wary. Mom just dealing out some punishment. Keeping all the cubs in check. All right, we're going to send you over to Brent. He's got slightly better lighting for this sighting. See you in a bit.
So it looks like the hippo is safe and sound in his little wallow, and with these lions around, probably not going to move at all. But look at the cubs running around in the dam. Big fun games, but it looks like the pride is going to head out towards possibly where those buffalo moved to it. And what a wonderful, wonderful day it's been with the Nkuhumas. And I think they're going to hang around the pan for a little bit, but I do think they are going to move off. And we're going to do the same. As we say, we can't follow them at night because of the age of the cubs. So it has been absolutely splendid from Stef, Brian, myself, Vim, and the rest of the Safari Live team. It's been wonderful having you, and we can't wait to do it all again tomorrow morning. So let's have one last look at the lions before we bid you a fond farewell.